Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me for today's Lunch and Learn. I'm Keith Armour. I'm the Education and Homework Support Manager down here at the main library and the Adult Learning Center. Today, we are going to do a little bit of a change up for Lunch and Learn. A lot of times now that some restrictions and I'm starting to see more people, they always ask me, where do you work? And I say the library. And I'm always amazed at the services that the library has that a lot of people just don't realize. So today we are going to go to Bet You Didn't Know, um, the services and different things that we have at the library. We're going to check that out and we'll check out a few more other things too. All right. So if you do know one of these, give yourselves the thumbs up. If you don't, try them out. All right. All right, we've arrived at cincinnatilibrary.org. Now, the first of I Bet You Didn't Know, and this one I really don't blame you for not knowing because we just started it this week, and that is our new telescope lending program. Now, Dean, who is the astronomer, is right there standing next to the Orion Star Blaster, and that is the telescope that we're lending as part of this program. And of course, Dean is the chief astronomer over at the Cincinnati Observatory. And you can learn all about the wonderful telescope down here. But before that, I just want to say that you want to be able to check out the telescope. You can borrow it from Avondale, Elmwood Place, Madisonville, Pleasant Ridge, and Westwood. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, usually I'm at Madeira, I'm at Groesbeck, those are my neighborhood branches, I'm at Forest Park, and I can request material and they can come magically to my branch by putting a hold on them. Well, this is an exception to that program. Our program for the telescope, you actually have to pick it up from that branch and also return it to that branch. You still have the capability of reserving it no matter where you are. But you actually have to go to one of those fab branches and after you've found out that your reservation is good, and then you have to return it to that same branch. Now, the materials that you're going to get, not only are you going to get that really nice big telescope, but you're also going to get the instructional manual. You're going to get 2 eyepieces, you're going to get a star chart, you're going to have 2 books by Dean for all about stargazing. And Dean even put together this video on how to use the telescope, which will come in real handy for any of us who have never used this type of equipment before. There's a little bit more information down here. And then this is part of our Discover Summer program. And it's going to be around a while. But these are some other attractions. I'm going to get the word out. There we go. And you can attend an Astro Friday, but you do have to pre-register for a lot of these events. So here's another one here for Become a Family of Upstanders. And that is from the Holocaust Humanities Center. Spend some time in nature, of course, with the great parks of Hamilton County. Live Summer Out Loud at the YMCA, Rediscover Cincinnati Museum Center, Kids Only Make Music at Camp with the University of Cincinnati, and then, of course, our Discover Summer with the library. Now, you just click on these links here to go to those special attractions. Now, that's a bonus I bet you didn't know. But of course, you can then come back up here. Now, when you're ready to reserve this, you want to visit our website and select a date. And this is the main page for telescope lending, and it's going to be up for a while, especially since this program is ongoing. And once again, we've partnered with the Cincinnati Observatory. If you've never visited the Cincinnati Observatory, you really should. They've got, of course, online astronomy classes right now. But here is the telescope that's there at the observatory. You do have to reserve, and then of course they did have some other programs. This is a video from June the 10th, but there's the actual observatory, and it's just a wonderful building in its own right. Now, once again, you have to have a library card in good standing. That means it has to have less than $10 worth of fines. So make sure you understand that. And once again, these are the 5 branches that you can check out the telescope, but it has to be returned to that branch. So if I check it out at Pleasant Ridge, I'm going to have to return it to Pleasant Ridge. And here's just a list of the different things that you're going to get in the telescope lending program. And once again, there's the video that Dean put together. Now, the online reservation system's right here. And this is part of our Discovery Pass. And remember, Discovery Pass involves American Sign Museum, the Cincinnati Museum Center, this Cincinnati Observatory Telescope, great parks of Hamilton County, that vehicle permit, the Harriet Beecher Stowe House, Pyramid Hill Sculpture Park and Museum up in Hamilton, Ohio, the Taft Museum of Art, and the Betts House as well. So you can check that out, and then you reserve it there. All right? Now, another program that I bet you didn't know is that we have a passport service. And if you've ever thought about getting a passport, you're going to do some international traveling, and you want to make sure that you have your passport well in advance of any kind of trip. Now, I know because of COVID and the pandemic and everything, there's still not as much international travel as has been before. However, you want to be prepared. So at Coreyville, Harrison, and Sims Township, by appointment, you can have an expert, and they've been trained to be able to fill out make sure all of the information on your passport is correct and that you've put in everything correctly. Now, you'll need to make sure that you make a reservation at those branches, and you can just contact them here. Our downtown library, our main library, will eventually come back online this summer to provide passport service, but we're just waiting on a few more things. Now, there's the application here, so you can go to the U.S. State Department, and you want to fill out everything, and you want to provide proof of U.S. citizenship, proof of identity. You'll need to make sure that you have your Social Security. You'll need to have a passport photo. And passport photos, that's 2 inches by 2 inches, 2 by 2. And there's definite guidelines. So you want to make sure you bring that with you. And then there's fees. There's 2 separate payments. There's the passport fee, and there's the execution fee. So you can check out that and read all about the full details there. And then, of course, some more information there. But you want to make sure that you really check this out before you make a reservation. But what's really great are all the individuals that are going to help you at the library have been officially trained to provide this service for passports. So you'll know that your passport information has been filled out correctly. And I don't know about you, I had my very first passport done through the library before I even started working at the library. I think it was a great service. And I renewed my passport a couple of years ago, and they couldn't have made the whole thing easier for me because a lot of those forms are very, very intimidating. So you want to do this. You want to do this at least 6 months before your trip. Because a lot of times when you're filling out information, travel information, you have to provide your passport number and passport information. So make sure you do that before you need it, well before you need it. But the library's here for you. So I bet you didn't know that we had passport service. Now, another one that a lot of people don't know is that you can reserve our computers. Now, one thing that Cincinnati and Hamilton County Public Library is really dedicated ever since the internet became such a vehicle for information is your library. Your library system has invested and continues to invest in technology, making sure there's Wi-Fi. Some of you actually come to our buildings after we've closed to use our Wi-Fi signal in the parking lot. Feel free to do that. Taxpayers pay for that, so feel free to use that service. But then also come into the library and use the technology as well. Now, what a lot of people don't know, bet you didn't know, that you can actually fill out an online form, and it looks just like this. And all of our branches are listed here. And you can reserve a branch. You can reserve, like say I want to reserve a PC at Covedale. And I do need to put in your library card number and your PIN. And then I could do it for today, or I could do it for tomorrow. And I could pick my time and hit submit, and then I would have that reservation. So that is something that I think is really cool, that, you know, a lot of times you're afraid, oh, those computers are always taken. Oh, but I'm going to be over there at 2:30. Well, I'm going to reserve a PC for 2:30, and I'm going to make sure I'm there to get onto the computer. And then you just go to the person with the lanyard or the front desk or whatever desk that's there and say, I'm ready. I have my library reservation with me. Now, another one that I bet you didn't know, and this is some new, talking about new technology, is our library laptop kiosk. And I just love the word kiosk for some strange reason. But there are all of these branches, and even the Carnegie Center in Columbia, Tusculum, they have a laptop kiosk. And there's actually 19 locations listed here, and it seems to keep growing. But here's a picture of it. You have to have a library card to check it out. But you put in your library card and you put in your information, and then you check it out, and it comes loaded. It comes loaded with all of these. Of course, Microsoft Office. It comes with all the web browsers. It comes with a media player. It even comes with Adobe Acrobat and Google Earth. And what's great is it includes webcam. So if you need to do an interview, or you want to Skype with someone, or you want to Zoom with someone, you can definitely check that out. So make sure, and it's got Windows 10, which is even better. But that is a service that really helps you out. You can have it up for 2 hours when you're in the building. And you have to be in the building, and you have to keep it in the building. But you can go to a more comfortable location. You can go to a more quiet location in those particular branches. Remember, 19 branches have those laptop kiosks. And it just makes it so much easier to be able to do some work on those laptops for 2 hours. All right? And that service keeps growing. When I was looking at this information earlier this week to be able to highlight it, I was really amazed that there were 19. It just keeps growing and growing and growing. All right, the next one I want to tell you about is our special collections. Our special collections are really special, and I've highlighted them a little bit before, but it's rare books. It's the special collections that include some of the oldest materials that we have, more than 43,000 books, 23,000 photographs, and lots of maps and blueprints and prints and all sorts. But you can get to our special collection in person, but it is available by appointment. Now, we also have some rare items online, so you can click here, and that will take you to the digital library, which we've talked about before, and each one of these will get you to the digital library. And we've checked that out before. Here is a Cincy film and file, and you can just see a different collection, and you can browse it by going in. And of course, here's the First Presbyterian Church. And that's right close to us, and you can see how it's changed. And it's just such a great collection of materials. I'm going to go back. And that's our rare items that have been digitalized so then you can have them just with a click. Now, here are some other collections that you might not be aware of. Here's the Inland Rivers Library, and that is a lot of documentation of over 200 years of river history. So if you go here, and then come down here, here's related books, magazines, and on the web. All right, and then you can click right here. And here is a museum of sons and daughters of pioneer rivermen. And then this is telling you a little bit about the collection and of course taking you to the digital library, which will have the Inland Rivers Photograph Collection. And you'll see a lot of different photographs. This is the Island Queen that used to take people from Cincinnati down to Coney Island. But there's a great collection, including over 8,000 photographs of the Ohio and Mississippi. Okay, that's a huge collection of materials just for the Inland Rivers Library. Then you've got the Loeb collection, you've got a dictionary collection, you've got all of these other ones here, okay? So our special collections are really special. We have fine individuals that digitalize all of these materials, and I just think a lot of people don't realize that those materials are there, and that's the fifth Bet You Didn't Know. But I'm going to give you a bonus here too. Going right up here, if I put in the catalog Beatles, as in the music group, I think a lot of people don't know, bet you didn't know, that we have LPs. Now, when you're searching any type of music, you want to go down here, and when you go to music and sound, you'll see we have 91 Beatles on CD. We've got printed music. We actually have a printed music collection that is huge. That should have been another bet you didn't know. That's 55, but then we have 22 LPs of the Beatles. So anytime that you're doing a search of music and you really like vinyl, you might want to check that out, okay? Just make sure that you go down to this side on the left and see if LP, that's vinyl. And that's a record, kids. If you've never seen a record, you need to check that out. You have to have a record player to be able to play those. So you might want to ask someone before. But you can definitely check that out. And people are going back to vinyl. They kind of like it. And we are purchasing more vinyl. Not a huge collection compared to our digital music and our CDs, but we are providing some vinyl copies of different musical groups, okay? So those are the bets you didn't know. I'm going to click out and tell you a few more things. Oh, wait, you know what? Let's go to events. And we're going to go to events. And I am going to pick tomorrow. And so we've got a lot of our drop-in programs. We've got some I Spy. We've got some storytelling. And remember, that's over at the Springfield Township Arts Center. First chapter. Got some other things here. We've got cooking breakfast for beginners. That's on Saturday. Marymount Masterpiece Theater. We got to click on that. Drop by the Marymount Branch Library patio as we see some science fiction, sci-fi, and horror's most legendary film, Turkey. So these are bad films, but so bad they're good. So check that out. I think that sounds like a good one. And of course, all sorts of other programs. And once again, I do want to point out our Discover program, our Discover Summer program, and make sure you're getting the kids involved with their summer learning with some reading and some activities to keep them active. All right, let me click out now and I'll tell you a few more things. Okay, now how many of those 5, kind of 6, because I did give you that one bonus, how many of those services did you realize that the library has? Now, granted, the telescopes are brand new and you can only pick them up at certain locations. And the passport service is something that is at certain locations as well, but we're going to provide the link for you. And then, of course, the PC reservations. You can reserve a PC at any of our branches up to 24 hours before you want to use the computer. And of course, our laptop kiosks at several of our locations allow you to move a little bit and be a little bit more flexible on where you use the computer. And then our special collections and the bonus tip that I gave you, which was, of course, our vinyl collection. A lot of people don't realize that we keep adding more to our vinyl collection. So next week, we are going to do part 2 of I Bet You Didn't Know. And I'm going to tell you about 5 more things and maybe a bonus or 2 of things that you might not realize that your library, Cincinnati Hamilton County Public Library, provides as a service or a resource. All right. Have a wonderful July 4th weekend. Don't forget, all of our branches are closed anyway on Sunday so far. And enjoy your holiday. Have a good day, and I'll see you next week for Lunch and Learn.